Hello friends, and welcome to the second part of our lecture on law and the judiciary. And this is really more of an introduction to the judiciary PowerPoint, which is available on the course file for you. And I encourage you to look at it very carefully. There's a wealth of information there to help you understand the role of the American judiciary and how it fits into the American political system. So I would encourage you to look at that very carefully and to analyze that and to spend some time really reading it and following it along in the textbook. The Supreme Court is the least known branch of American government. It is given the least amount of attention. It's the most complex because they're ruling sometimes on very arcane, obtuse topics, and it's not studied as closely. It is much more difficult to study. Only until really the contemporary period have they even allowed audio recordings of Supreme Court cases being heard, and only in a few rare cases do we have the video footage. Also, it doesn't have the kind of media attention that the president has. The president has the White House press corps that follows the president around. Congress has a tremendous amount of press coverage, but there's a lot of Congress, 535 members to cover. As we know from our studies this semester, it's hard to cover Congress. But the Supreme Court is very difficult. There are many fewer court reporters and court analysts, and the access to the court itself, to the 9 Supreme Court justices, is much more restricted. Therefore, I've included that really bad joke, which is actually unfortunately true, that Americans are more likely to know who the 3 Stooges are than they are to know 3 Supreme Court justices. This PowerPoint gives you an introduction to sources of judicial power, how the Supreme Court makes decisions, the types of courts in the federal system. It also gives you an introduction to the types of cases and America's dual system of having a Supreme Court and also 50 state courts. I would urge you to pay attention to that federal court system. It is really a 3-tiered system, with the United States Supreme Court, 9 justices nominated by the President, confirmed by the Senate, who serve life terms. They can be impeached and removed by the House and Senate, however. In the next layer, the U.S. Court of Appeals, the 13 circuits, with the D.C. Circuit being the most important, and where all the cases are, most important federal cases are heard. Then the 94 U.S. district courts. There are also a number of specialty courts. I have a slide in the PowerPoint to sort of point those out. Next, I urge you to pay a great deal of attention in your reading, your note-taking, and your studying to who's appointed, how they're appointed to the Supreme Court, and also look at the U.S. district judicial districts, which are outlined in the PowerPoint. In the text and in the PowerPoint, you also see how the Supreme Court operates, how decisions are made. And I would urge you to know who the Supreme Court justices are, all 9 justices. And I'll pay some attention to that, because that's really something that we should all know as citizens, because the Supreme Court has a tremendous impact on our lives, on the lives of our fellow citizens, and on the future of the country.